Welcome, everybody, to Stay Curious. I'm your host, Mark Marquette. We're broadcasting live in downtown Titusville from our museum, which preserves the birth of America's space age like no other place on Earth, we believe. And today we're celebrating the birth of NASA. October 1st, 1958 is when the Space Act of Congress went into effect, changing national uh, the NACA, and I knew I was going to kill that. That's the National Aeronautic Committee on Aeronautics. Nope, I got that wrong. But you all straighten me out there as we get to there in a minute. Uh, National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics, NACA, which how long was that in existence for? Yeah, you'll be surprised maybe how long it was, because we're going to talk a little bit about the history of NASA in a October 1st, 2025 segment of Stay Curious with my co-producer Marty Winkle at the helm there on the Streamlabs there. Marty, how are you today? Give me a shout out on that UCX family microphone.
Yeah, I'm doing good, Mark. Hope you're doing good also.
Yep, you know me. I'm pretty doggone busy today. Went to Merritt Island to the luncheon with such NASA legends as Jay Honeycutt and John Tribe and Lisa Malone, the public affairs officer for many years under Hugh Harris, and then led it. She organizes that. So, always fun to do that. And, a little personal business this morning, but we threw together another Stay Curious episode. We're up to about 1,370 episodes in 5 years. That's right, I said 1,370, thanks to you all wanting this program on a weekday basis, Monday through Friday. So let's have some fun. Let's honor one of our sponsors, Go History Travel. Oh, by the way, okay, we're just going to give it to you right up front here. Let me go back there, Marty. Um, Marty's got his pen and a tally board in front of him. We're going to take a vote. 3 votes. NASA Meatball from 1959 to 1987. The NASA Worm from 1975 is when that came on board and was used extensively for a few years. Or the merging of the worm and the meatball into NASA into the 21st century. So, put down what your preference is: meatball, worm, or combination there. And Marty will give us a total here at the end of you faithful watchers here. Let me get you faithful watchers up on my smart tablet here, my smartphone actually. Let's prop it in front of there. We got a kind of a fun little program today where we're going to honor one of our founding fathers, Sam Beddingfield. Sam Beddingfield, I never got to meet, but his presence echoes in the walls of this museum. One of his great friends, Bruce Jacobs, is friend of the family and champions Sam Beddingfield. So I know you'll appreciate this today, Bruce, and thank you for all that you do, the American Space Museum. We got Doug Forrest is there in California, close to the Endeavor Museum. We've got Jackie Murakami. She is, of course, Chris Callie's beautiful wife. He goes with the combo. RG Rosalie's going with the meatball. Dave Stangy's a meatball guy. So is Mitch Rothman of Man Space. Why aren't you on Mitch Rothman's Facebook Man Space, NASA Man Space? Get on there and follow those great stories he's got there. Oliver Brown's going with the worm. Gary Gerald likes the meatball. Classic Gary. Um, Dean Babcock goes with the meatball. And Steve Jokums. Oh, I thought you'd be a traditionalist, Steve. He likes the combo with a little extra sauce there. And that reminds me, I got to get to that Merritt Island Italian place you talked about when you come here. So we've got Gavril Mikos. Thank you. We're glad that you found our little social time here with a lot of smart people that dig the space, particularly American space, and particularly our U.S. Space and Walk of Fame Foundation, the American Space Museum. Over the last years, we have been sponsored by gohistorytravel.org. You go there, you're going to see some interesting perspectives of how some of the icons of history, from like you see there, Van Gogh, Lincoln, astronauts, as we just love the Ramanujan family. They have financially been one of our largest personal contributors the past few years, have pledged a big donation to Shuttle Fest this year. And here they are. Just want to let you know these are our space fans of the day. We've got Bharat. Whoop, let me beam that up there, Marty. We got Bharat on the left, the son. Mal in the middle, the mom, and Rama on the right. Ramanujan is their last name. They are excellent people. They travel all over the world and reporting on just the elementary school where astronauts went, stuff like that. Bharat does an amazing job. He's actually been to every home and school of every Hubble space astronaut. I think there's 32 of them. And there I am holding a check of a nice donation they gave us a year or so ago. So they are our fans of the day here. Maybe we'll pull your picture off of Facebook and make you the fan of the day. But here they are in our studios, our old studio behind me there, the Ramanujan family. Thank you. Please visit their gohistorytravel.org. It's a simple page. They also got a Facebook page, and you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I guarantee a different perspective. So, and my artifact of the day is this lamp from Mission Control Center. All right, out at the Kennedy Space Center. Actually, Cape Canaveral Space Center is where this was located. And the Mission Control Center metal sign on the back was above the meatball, and the meatball's wood, and they have that out there at Kennedy Space Center. But this was a real light fixture out there until they moved the operation to Johnson Space Center, and I believe that was like about Gemini 5 or 6 when they did that. They did a couple of Gemini flights from Mission Control here that's beautifully recreated out there at the Hall of Fame building of Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. But Marty, I was looking at this light fixture there. Why don't we hook that up and plug it in? I think I'll ask Bruce to hook it up, and let's turn the lights on once in a while there. This is our Mercury Gemini Gallery. What I'm going to show you, Sam Beddingfield. We're going to talk about that gentleman here in a minute. His panel's on the far end there. You see the button that pushed John Glenn. Let me get this right. There's the button that pushed John Glenn. All right, Sam's tribute is right here. This again is the Mission Control sign that hung outside the building below the wood meatball, and that's a fixture that was there. You see Gunter Vent. We have all kinds of cool stuff here, and you better bet your bottom dollar that this is the real stuff, all right? We've got John Glenn's hard hat in there, and pictures of him wearing it. So that's our artifact of the day. As the votes are coming in, meatball or worm, or the new heritage logo, the worm meatball. All right, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one of those here in a few minutes when we talk more about NASA. But let's have another birthday. It's just not NASA's birthday, but how about an astronaut born on October 1st, the birthday of NASA, and that is Eric Boe, okay, B-O-E, born October 1st, 1964 in Miami, Florida, but he grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. And he's 61 years old today, pilot of STS-126 Endeavour in 2008, and then he was pilot for STS-133, the final flight of Discovery in 2011 that our friend Nicole Stott was mission specialist on that. Bo's an Air Force pilot, flew 55 combat missions over Iraq and the Gulf War. He worked on air-to-air missiles at the 46th Test Wing in Elgin Air Force Base. Big helicopter pilot and F-15, okay. The F-15 and the UH-1N helicopter. And then when he retired from NASA, he was going to be thought I had another picture in there. He was going to be the commander of the first test flight of Boeing's Starliner. And it was announced in 2019 that he was unable to fly due to medical reasons, and he was replaced by Michael Fink. Okay, and Michael Fink's nickname is Spanky, and he's up on the space station right now. And he didn't fly the Boeing Starliner, as Butch Wilmer and Sonny Williams were the two that flew that ill-fated Boeing about a year ago, and glad they made it back okay. And Lynn McDaniel, who is one of our educators that brings kids here from Tampa, says that Eric Bowe's a great gentleman and a Civil Air Patrol supporter. So we're all for that. Happy 61st birthday to Eric Bowe. And we just had the 61st birthday of Michael Frick. Or what's Frick's last name? First name? Steve Frick. And I'm going to go out there and take him a bag of key lime pretzels that they call Cocoa Beach Crack. I'm going to go out there and see him tomorrow and wish him a belated happy birthday. So, well, let's get to the big birthday party for NASA today. NASA's roots trace to the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, and despite being the birthplace of aviation, by 1914, the United States recognized that it was far behind Europe in aviation capability. So they were determined to regain American leadership in aviation, and the United States Congress enacted the Aviation Section of the U.S. Army Signal Corps in 1949 and established the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, in 1915 to foster aeronautical research and development. Now, this is just 12 years after the Wright brothers flew, Marty, so this got organized pretty quick. I'm always impressed with. There we've got President Eisenhower, and this is the Congress that okayed the I'm getting ahead of myself here. The Space Act was in Congress, was approved and went into effect. All right, on October 1st, 1957. So NASA's interest in space grew out of its rocketry, 58, I meant to say. And NACA's interest in space. Now, this was aeronautical research, Air Force, Army, Navy, and civilian sector. Civilian sector is important to remember. After the end of World War II, NACA became interested in the possibilities of guided missiles and supersonic aircraft, developing and testing the Bell X-1 in a joint program with the U.S. Air Force. So Bell X-1, and most famously the pilot of that, having a senior moment there, the great Chuck Yeager, the great Chuck Yeager, was not part of NASA. He was part of NACA, okay? So then when we launched the Sputnik 1, ushered in the space age and kicked off the space race, despite NACA's early rocket program, responsibility for launching America's first satellite fell on the Navy lab with Vanguard, and whose operational issues ensured that the Army Ballistic Agency with Wernher von Braun would launch America's first satellite on January 31st, 1958. Well, the Eisenhower administration, and Dwight Eisenhower, president there on the left, for those of you who don't know, was a great leader, military leader. He was the Allied supreme commander of all of the forces against the foes of Germany and then Japan in World War II. Pardon me?
Not Japan.
He went over Japan?
No.
Well, how could he not be with the Allied force as supreme commander? But
He's the supreme commander over Europe.
okay, all right. Well, I'm corrected there, but so he became the Truman administration. Of course, dropped the bomb on Japan in there, and Eisenhower followed. And they decided to split the U.S. military and civil spaceflight programs, okay? Was his whole idea of creating NASA, to split the military from the civilian space program. And NASA was established July 1950, July 29th, 1958, with the signing of the National Aeronautics and Space Act, and it began its operations on October 1st, 1958. Gee, on its 67th anniversary, though, it's not operating because the government's in a budget shutdown. Isn't that ironic? Okay. So politics are being played, and yes, even our Sands Museum, one of our partners with Jamie Draper as its director, is closed today. And don't get politics with me. Both the Democrats and Republicans have had the country shut down, okay, because of their squabbles over the budget and stuff like that. It's happened 20 times, in fact. I looked it up. As the United States' premier aeronautics agency, NACA formed the core of NASA's new structure by reassigning 8,000 employees in 3 major research laboratories. All right. This was the emblem that was adopted, not often seen, but this is the administrative seal of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. I really like that, except I don't know why the Earth is yellow and where the colors come from, but they just want a colorful emblem there. This is the official insignia of the business side of NASA, okay? NASA also proceeded to absorb the Navy Research Labs Project Vanguard and then Army's Jet Propulsion Lab. And then the Army Ballistic Missile Agency under von Braun, and that's the other icon in the upper left-hand corner above Eisenhower. That's the Army Ballistic Missile Agency logo. This left NASA firmly as the United States civilian space lead and the Air Force as the military space lead, as it remains so today. So that's the history of the background of NASA. Actually started in 1915 by the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. Now, one thing I love pointing out about NASA, Marty, as we're looking at the worm logo there, it's National Aeronautics and Space Administration. It's just not the National Space Administration, all right? And this is why our skies are so safe at the airports. It's incredible when in the morning one of those news shows will put up at 8 o'clock, there's 6,000 airplanes over America right now with times, 300 passengers each? Man, you know, that's moving some people around the country in an effortless way where air travels become safer, they say, than driving your car across town. So it's just amazing, the aeronautics part of this. The NASA meatball logo. Let's look at the NASA seal a minute. The NASA seal was adopted in 1959. The sphere represents a planet. The stars represent space. The red chevron in the alternate shape of the constellation Andromeda, which it is, like a V shape, is a wing representing aeronautics. The latest design in hypersonic wings wing. It is known officially as the insignia, okay? The NASA seal is used by the Office of the Administrator and stands alone without the meatball or the worm. The worm, or the meatball as it become known. And I challenge you that this, Marty, might be the most recognizable piece of artwork on the face of Earth. The only other logo that I would question might be more well known than this is Coca-Cola.
How about Amazon?
Oh, Amazon
and Nike.
Well,
I got to throw those in there.
he's throwing Amazon and Nike. That's a good one, but worldwide, I don't know. Is Amazon in China and in Argentina and all those places? I guess it is.
I know Nike is.
But you get my point. This is one of the top icons. Let's say top 5, and I'd say Coca-Cola's got to be. Though I'm a Pepsi drinker, to drink to that. All right, the meatball.
Chris Calley says Nike.
Chris Calley says what?
Nike.
Oh, Nike? Well, okay. And there's Cliff Watson. Hey, Cliffy. Hello, buddy. How are you? We were just talking about we'll get you on a live stream one day, okay? And hang in there, and our prayers are with our buddy in Pomona, Australia there, that's just enjoying spring. So hope you can enjoy many more springs there, Cliff. The meatball insignia. After a NASA Lewis Research Center illustrator's design was chosen for the new agency's official seal, the executive secretary of NASA asked James Moderelli, the head of reports division at Lewis Research Center, to design a logo that could be used for less formal purposes. Moderelli, that's Modarelli, simplified the seal, leaving only the white stars and the orbital path on a round field of blue with a red vector. He then added the white lettering NASA, and that's the worm logo incorporated in that. I meant to put. I have another one coming up here in a minute, but the worms up up there in the upper left is what we're talking about there. Then the worm logo that is quite polarizing. In 1974, as part of the Federal Graphics Improvement Program of the National Endowment for the Arts, NASA hired Richard Dane and Bruce Blackburn to design a more modern logo. Gee, Marty, it took two artists to design that logo. In 1975, the agency switched to the modernized NASA logo type nicknamed the Worm, a red stylized rendering of the letters NASA. The horizontal bars in the A's are removed in the Worm logo. Wow, what an artistic design, Mark said sarcastically. Anyway. But we can merge it together like this. The NASA logo type was retired after official use in May 22, 1992 by Daniel Golden. The design was used only for special occasions, that's the meatball, and commercial merchandising purposes, approved by the Visual Identity Coordinator at NASA headquarters. A Visual Identity Coordinator. It was brought out of retirement by Administrator Jim Brandenstein. That's the worm logo. Okay. They used the worm from 75 to 1992. All right. And then Dan Golden retired the worm. He brought back the meatball. One of the best things he did in his 12-year tenure, some think. When it brought, and then Jim Bridenstine brought it out of retirement, the reinstated logo was unveiled on the booster for SpaceX's Crew Demo 2 mission in 2020. This marked its first official use since 1992. And as of 2020, the logo with blue lettering instead of red is used by the NASA Federal Credit Union. So now you've got the background, all the 411 on our artwork for NASA there. So, yes, Marty.
Okay, according to AI Overview, the most popular world recognizable logos in this order is the Nike swoosh. I got that one. The McDonald arches, the Apple logo, and Coca-Cola, the Mercedes-Benz star.
That's okay. You just Googled that as from, and NASA, the worm logo is not even mentioned there.
No, but you could probably look other sites.
But those are all businesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that burst my bubble, I guess. So
I don't know, I think it'd be hard to argue against that, though.
yeah.
I mean, this is just one survey.
Mercedes around the world?
Yeah.
That's kind of a stretch to me. I can see McDonald's arches. That's definitely one.
And a Nike swoosh.
And a Nike swish.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with the Nike swish. And what was the fourth one? Or
Apple logo.
Oh, the Apple logo.
Yeah, that surprises me, but
Okay. Yeah,
But
Apple
Nike-
logo.
but the
I
iPhones
would
all
say
over.
maybe the Chrome, but there's a lot of competition now. But for sure. But as far as a piece of artwork, wow, the meatball is iconic on there. So
Now, Chris Callie is saying, where'd it go? Forget Google. I believe in Mark.
thank you, Chris. So somebody does. God, finally. And Rosalie says, "I'm glad the meatball's back." And Doug Forrest says the worm, on the other hand, looks lazy, and I go along with that. And but a lot of good comments there. What was so as we're tallying up the votes here, I was looking at the paragraph that Carlton sent us here. Glad we didn't shut down. We're not shut down. We are we are a nonprofit here, and I might just put an ad up that we aren't shut down. So the NASA Administrative Building is in Washington, D.C. Okay, that was renamed after the, I don't have my notes on that. That was named after the Hidden Figures lady. Pardon me for not remembering that. They're trying to move basically all the public relations has been moved to Washington to that building. And the NACA, not to be forgotten, the 75 years in 1990 of both organizations was celebrated. This is one of my favorite little decals that pops up once in a while in our stuff there, Marty. So as Marty's tallying up the votes there, I just want to look back at some of the great accomplishments of NASA in 67 years. Of course, going to the moon, the great 30 years of the shuttle era. Incredible space telescopes have been put up that have changed man's thinking constantly. We have put robots on the surface of Mars. NASA's never put a rover on the moon, coincidentally, okay. We have explored the far reaches of the solar system, okay, and we have taken care of the environment around the Earth. The great observatories were the Spitzer telescope, the Chandra, the Hubble, and the Webb. These were all planned as part of NASA's 21st century assault, if you will, on physics and astronomy. And having all of these instruments work together, though I think the Spitzer's down, is an incredible bonus for astronomers around the world. And then we know, because of NASA and no other entity on Earth, we know what all of the bodies of the solar system look like, all the main bodies, and even some of the smaller ones like the comets and asteroids. But no other country has gone to all 9 planets, counting Pluto, and their moons, like NASA has, okay? And in fact, no other country but Russia's even gone to any other planet outside of the moon, except for India, and European Space Agency went to Mars also. Russia went to Venus. But as far as the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and everything beyond, we're the only ones to explore that. So good for NASA. Working on a budget of 1/2 cent of America's budget is what NASA usually has. That's about $20 billion right now a year. They spend almost $1 trillion, or 900 with a billion, on the military side of things. So you want to talk about bang for your taxpayer dollar? NASA has delivered that. I challenge like no other agency out there. So the tally. Doug Forrest comments. You said the original NASA font looks sharper and figuratively and literally, and it looks like it belongs to an agency that is going places. It also crosses the A, which suggests an eye to the details. Okay, which suggests an eye to the details. And you said he had 2 comments?
Yeah, it's 2 below that.
The other one's below that? The worm, on the other hand, looks lazy to him.
Yeah.
So we have got those favoring the worm logo. Well, definitely the meatball wins. 8 for the meatball, 2 for the worm, and the combo is only 1 voting for that. Steve Jacobs, yes.
Chris Campbell.
And Chris Callie. Okay. Steve also liked the combo.
Yeah.
So 2 for that one there. And Chris Callie. I kind of like the combo too. I don't mind I think to bring the past together there. In fact, I accidentally used the worm meatball on a couple things I didn't mean to because I didn't pay attention to the detail.
Well, I agree with Doug Forrest on his comments, so my meatball was just not counted in that tally. So I wipe out your combo.
Well, good. All right, my daughter Jessie's watching there with, hey, McKinley and Macy. Hope you're behaving, mom, today. Okay. Well, as we're looking at this stylized meatball on a piece of tin, thank you, Mom. She sent me this for a birthday present a few years ago. People thought I took it off a fence out there at NASA. I think she got it at Target, distressed looking like this. Cool, isn't it, Marty? You know, we have it on the door here of the studio. And so I thought I'd use that to introduce you all that don't know about a man named Sam Beddingfield to end our beautiful program today. There is Sam. He died in 2012 at age 78. But in his tenure at NASA, he became one of the most sought after storytellers and guides to the VIPs. His long list of people who he gave tours to at Kennedy Space Center go from presidents of just not America, but other countries, of course, other world leaders, actors, actresses, VIPs of everything from sports to Broadway. And he was quite a guy. But his unique story is told on our board up here that I've got right here in front of me here in our Mercury Gemini Gallery. And I thought it'd be appropriate on the birth of NASA to give you a little background of the employees of NASA. So Sam Beddingfield joined NASA in 1959 at the urging of his buddy Gus Grissom. They were graduates of Purdue together, okay? And when 33 people converted to NASA and came down to work at NASA and get badged, they did them alphabetically. So he was B for Beddingfield. His badge number was 4. Okay. But he was cajoled into coming down here. He graduated from Purdue, and I'm told the story is that he had a family in North Carolina that was farming, and so he was going to be a tobacco farmer. Huge cash crop back in the 50s, of course. And so he worked about a year there and didn't really like the farming business. It was so forth. He wasn't using his engineering background, but he kept talking on the phone to his buddy Gus Grissom. And Gus Grissom become an astronaut and is talking to Sam Beddingfield. And Gus says, come on down here and get a job. You'll find a job something with your engineering degree. And Sam famously told Gus Grissom, well, I don't know anything about rockets, Gus. And Gus's reply was, well, don't worry about that. Nobody does. And so they become workmates down here together. And Sam was passionate about flight. At age 14, he saved his money and took flying lessons. Later on, he became a mechanical engineer. Let's get Sam's picture up there. At Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and that's where he met, bonded with Gus. At NASA, Sam found his purpose among the young, hard-charging engineers who did the impossible every day on the banks of the Banana River. The NASA crew worked without a net, trying things that had never been tried before. They worked hard, they played hard, and they joked that any rocket that wasn't pieced together with green missile tape probably wasn't going to fly. Hopefully that green missile tape was the early precursor of duct tape. Sam and his contemporaries refused to accept the limitations of the past. They were going to chart a new course, and they did. Sam Beddingfield always said that many of the best stories will never be told. I'll vote for that. There's some stories I can't tell you on Stay Curious here that I wish I could, that are important to America's space age. Sam always said that many of the best stories will never be told, and he likely took many of them with him when he died in 2012 at the age of 78. People, quote, people have always been impressed with what we did, Sam liked to tell museum visitors, but if they knew what we really did, they would really be impressed. unquote. And that's our tribute to Mr. Sam Beddingfield on our walls here at the American Space Museum, Mercury and Gemini Gallery. Many of you have seen that, and it's always my honor to talk about Sam. Wish I had met him. Just legendary stories of people that he toured. Um, a fairly large man, I take it, over 6 feet tall, and so he was assuming, had a nice presence, but he just had a demeanor that people enjoyed hearing him talk about the space that he witnessed and was part of as one of our national treasures. So, Mr. Sam Beddingfield, we salute you. I don't. I was going to give you. Let's see here. Let's go back there. One of the godfathers of the museum. I talk a lot about Charlie Mars being our godfather because he's still around. He's going to be 90 years old. That Apollo manager and so much more. And of course, they were great friends. And Beddingfield was really one of the hubs or the spokes of the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation. One of the architects that created this institution to do what we believe we do better than anybody else: preserve America's space age. So, Sam Beddingfield, tribute to you, our friend, on the birthday of NASA. An important badge number 4. How about that, Marty? So, well, thank you all for watching today. I wanted to pick up something that I found at one of the tourist visitor center there. Marty, here's how NASA's promoting the Artemis 2. This is it. A poster that says Artemis 2 for all humanity. Okay, what do you think? Is it for all humanity? They got the meatball up there. There is the meatball up there at the corner with no worm logo on it there. But well, we are opening up the constructive criticism, if you will, of the Artemis program with some factual things, and we've a few volleys have already been fired across the bow for Artemis 3 not being practical to try that to be the first landing on the moon in 53 or some years. So that just strikes me as too simple. What's the message for all humanity? You know, well, okay. I wonder what China thinks they're going to the moon for all humanity, or to occupy the high ground in a military standpoint. So, Marty?
Yeah, we got a question from Dean Babcock. Who had badge number 1?
I don't know. It's probably named Arnold or Abby or something. They went A, B, C, D. So I don't know who has badge. That's a good one. Try to research that for you, Dean, in there. So thank you, guys, for all watching today, okay? Hope you learned a little something about our museum and Mr. Beddingfield, how we honor all of our workers here, and we'll be featuring more of them, past and present, as we go along the way. And then just to tease you, Marty, it is October. You got something to say? Oh, I was just going to say to tease you all, yep, we're talking about the beautiful shuttles of the month of October will be coming up here. All right, we got 2, we got 3, 6, 9. All right, 12 beautiful shuttles in the month of Rocktober there, including John Glenn's historic launch at age 77, and a few missions there where I see some of our supporters have gone in there, none more so than STS-34, the wonderful Mr. Mike McCulley, pilot of that Galileo spacecraft there. So, yes, go ahead, Marty.
Okay, Doug Forrest is saying NASA badge number 1 was assigned to Brigadier General Richard S. Bailey, if I pronounced that right, Jr., the commander of the Air Force's Office of Special Investigations.
Well, okay.
According
Thank you,
to Google.
Doug. According to Google, that is. Okay, so he got his thumbs on Google before Steve Jokums did. But the point is, we've got one of the early NASA employees, and he parlayed that into his love for space in this museum, because Sam Beddingfield truly loved what he was doing and loved this museum, just like Marty and I do, and so many of you out there watching today. So thank you all for enjoying today. Again, the meatball resounding favor of the logo for NASA. That good old meatball right there with just a little bit of sauce there in the vector. One of the most recognized logos in the history of art design. So, Marty, thank you so much. Thursday, we're going to look at some October 2nd space history. I'm getting guests lined up for much of October, but thank you all for enjoying space history. We got some other programs lined up, and we're gonna execute them for your viewing pleasure. So, Marty, anything we need to clean up there?
Nope, looks like we're good to go.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, for your loyal dedication to our museum, and we could always use more volunteers if you're local. So stop on by and see how you could help the American Space Museum, doing business as the U.S. Space Walk of Fame, promote our American space program. Until tomorrow, thank you for watching. I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us. Happy birthday, NASA.